Are you concerned? Well, without further ado, we will bring on Philly.500 when he pops in. I'm sure there's going to be tissues there too. But let's bring in the notorious man that covers the Dallas Cowboys. I know he was feeling all good too, man. Last week. Now look at him.
What?
I mean, how you feeling this week here? How you feeling now, Mark? How you feeling, dog?
You like that, man? Do you like that?
Yeah. Hey, how you feeling?
You know what? I feel a lot better than I did Monday morning because I'm going to tell you how bad. Let me real story here. I'm going to tell you how bad this was. Okay, we got mollywopped by New Orleans. It literally sucked. I had like a plague of locusts of Eagle fans that descended upon me and just killed me. They talked so much shit that they knew that they weren't going to lose to the Atlanta Falcons. And this is how bad it was. I'm going to tell you, I finally got it all done. I'm laying in the bed next to my beautiful wife, and my phone got a message that came across from there. And I look at the message, and damn if it's not a defensive tackle, John Ridgway, sending me from New Orleans. He's even trolling me, okay? It's like, just leave me the fuck alone, okay? And then to go through and have some redemption to see the Eagles literally implode, to be Kellen Moore, like we have talked about over and over again, to say, you know what, we get a mulligan because Detroit lost, San Francisco lost, Eagles lost. I mean, it was all of the big teams that you worried about. It was just, maybe it was Friday the 13th that happened on Friday that carried through the weekend. I don't know. But you got a chance. Now, we do have some problems because our defensive front that couldn't hold anything. Mozzie was helped to the locker room today. Jordan Phillips was put on IR.
Not a big loss.
Well, maybe a bigger loss than, say, Jordan Davis.
No comment. Hold on. Let me get Philly.500 in here now, and let's bring him in. And Philly.500, Mark went into how he's feeling right now, but he's feeling a ton better after watching the Chernobyl implosion against the Falcons. How are you feeling here on this hump day as you get ready for the Saints this weekend?
Yeah, it shows you why Cowboys are losers. It shows you their loser mentality. Here's a guy that's happy and celebrating because the team he doesn't like lost. Well, I don't even think about the Cowboys game. I'm worried about my own team. You see, this is the act of losers. He should be very upset. His team got destroyed, humiliated at home again. I don't know how anybody could feel much better after that beatdown that they just took. Are we perfect? No, but I'm not sitting there all happy that my team lost.
He does have. Wait a minute, Mark. He does have a point here. They did implode at the end of the game there with a minute 34, but you were destroyed. Hey, Philly.500, this is how close the Cowboy game was against the Saints. You watching? Kickoff goes to you. That's how close it was. I mean, you were never close in that game, Mark.
I agree. And here's what I will say, and time will tell. I always say, first of all, don't get too excited or too upset by what you see in September, because this is literally like preseason. And I said, we played good against Cleveland, but I'm not sure that that's our team. We played awful against New Orleans. I'm not sure that that's our team. And that goes both ways, even for the Eagles. But
yeah, but they had AJ out.
Wait a minute. Hold up.
They had an injury.
Philly, that's not you there, buddy, after the game?
Yeah.
That's not you. You just said
after what? After whose game?
After my game. My game where you literally told me.
When my team lost, you didn't hear anything from me.
So you
shut the hell up.
You weren't happy about my team losing.
I was happy. Yeah, of course. But when my team lost, it ruined it. You see, when my team lost, you were happy.
I guess so.
You're happy that your team lost because my team lost. I'm unhappy that my team lost.
You know what? You know what I'm happy about? Here's what I'm happy about. Because had you,
that's why you guys don't win
had
in
you
30
guys
years.
had a coaching staff that would know better, because you even said it on the broadcast. You can't stop the clock here. You know more than Nick Sirianni and Kellen Moore.
Agree with him.
Okay,
I agree.
we Joe the fan here know more than your freaking coaching staff. Not that it was necessarily a bad play, but the guy who actually got you there in a position to win is the one to drop the football. You know, to have this redemption for your team to literally implode when victory was right there makes it a lot easier on me, because
Yeah, but
if you
you were
guys had
never
won,
in the game.
I understand that. But if I had to come in here and do the walk of shame with you guys getting the win and us getting the loss, it'd been ugly. This has been murder.
Hey,
at least
Billy,
I have some semblance of dignity left. Okay,
Hey.
we both suck. There
Hey,
you go.
At least I had 24 hours to enjoy myself. Once the Eagles lost, then that was a kick in the ass. After that, I mean, what can
Billy,
I say?
I'll ask you this question first, and I'll go back to Mark on it. Who's in worse shape right now, the Eagles or the Cowboys?
I think the Cowboys, because I think the Cowboys, I just think are flawed, fundamentally flawed. I just don't think they're that good. The Eagles, I think, are very talented and are still trying to figure it out. So I have hope for the Eagles that they can right the ship. I think Dallas, I really don't think they're that good. And I don't think there's no fix for that. Look at their run game. They got no run game. They're one dimension. They have no run game at all, and they can't stop the run. The Eagles, they've got to fix some things up, and I think they'll be okay. Now, we might be fundamentally flawed as far as our pass rush goes. That's what scares me more than anything right now.
Mark, who's more in trouble right now, Mark? The Eagles or the Cowboys?
I will say, you've seen the movie Titanic when the ship's going down and the guys are still playing the music. I'm sorry, that's the Eagles right now. That ship's going down. There is not one single playmaker on that defense. Okay, and on top of it here, your quarterback has had 25 turnovers since the beginning of last season. The most in the NFL, 25. And in the last 11 games, you've only won 2.
Yeah.
So I look at this and I say, and you got Kellen Moore. And Kellen Moore showed his colors, with Nick Sirianni, who literally didn't even address his team after a loss. You literally just let your quarterback? I got problems. I know I got problems, a lot of problems. But I got to say, that ship is sinking a little bit quicker than the Cowboys.
Retort.
Cowboys already sunk. They've already been sunk before the season started. The Eagles, we're taking on water. But, I can't panic week 2. But there are some major, major concerns. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I got some big fears. But my fears have to do, on the defensive side of the ball with that pass rush. As far as like Barkley dropping the ball and certain things like that, I think those are all fixable things. I think they're fundamentally flawed, and I think Dallas really lost it with their off season. Their off season was so horrible. I think that they were sunk going into the season. So, we might be taking on water, but they're already at the bottom of the ocean, and they've been there since the offseason.
I can agree that we have some fatal flaws with the running game right now. We don't know what we'll get with Dalvin Cook. He'll probably be called up this week.
And the run defense.
And the run defense is definitely leaving a lot to be desired. But there's still, there's still time with that, because we do at least have a new system, a new coach, and sometimes it takes more than 2 games. 2 games is
you can't say that, but you can't say that and then sit there.
No, I said the same. No, bro. I said the same thing, that it's 2 games into the season. You don't know shit really until October. Okay,
you don't know.
But I'm just kind of going by what has happened with your defense and your team over the last 11 games. You can't look at that and say we played. When was the last time you played a great game?
But it looked, listen, I thought the Green Bay game, besides that first quarter, was pretty good. That's a good team. You can't tell me Green Bay is not a top 4 team in that conference. That was a legitimate team. What did they come right back to this week without Love? They came back and won. That's a good team. That's a good
indie team. It gets a good indie team.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that was a good game. The Eagles, we got to figure out what's going on. Is it the coaching or whatever? I don't connect last year, at the end of last year, to this year necessarily. You changed all your coaches,
but you're still seeing some of the same issues.
but you are, and that's what the scary thing is, and that's what's scary. And if that continues for the next 2 weeks, Sills, I have to disagree with what you said earlier. I think if we don't see any improvement, if we see them play the way they played and looked this last game, if we see that versus New Orleans and versus Tampa, I think Sirianni's gone.
Wow, you think they blow him out at the bye?
Yeah. If they come back and they play, let's say they're
1-3. You think they fire
if you get Dallas Cowboys
if there's no improvement, like if they lose a tough game to New Orleans, but they look a lot better and things look like they're getting better, I think no. But if it's as bad as this was, because I look at this and I say this was bad. This was bad. Forget all the missed calls and stuff. How can you have no pass rush? Dude,
and run defense.
And Jordan Davis, man, I've done nothing but stick up for that guy, dude. I've done nothing. I've even eaten his calories so he would be in shape. I took his donuts. I took his cannolis. I took it all. And this guy's letting me down, Sills. I'm very upset about Jordan Davis.
Okay.
I'm very upset about James
Can I make one note
sure.
here? As bad as the Dallas Cowboys defense was last week, right? We can all agree that was abysmal. That was one of the worst piss-poor performances I've ever seen.
You never touched Kamara.
I agree. But you know what's interesting is the Cowboys have given up 277 yards on the ground. The Eagles have still given up more. 325 on the ground. We look at the Cowboys and say, God, they couldn't stop shit. But the Eagles were worse.
But you did that all in one game. We did it in 2 games.
So we played good on one game, right? So we at least showed we can play decent on one game.
Who was a running back versus Cleveland's running back? Who was it?
Were they an NFL? Were they an NFL team?
Chubb wasn't in.
Were they an NFL team?
Actually, here's the number.
Running backs we play.
Here's the numbers here, according to Brian Baldinger. Washington's given up 4.6 a carry against the defensive line. Cowboys are 4.9 yards a carry.
Not good.
Giants are 5.3, and the Eagles are 6.5 yards a game defensively that they're giving up. It's worse than football, actually.
I don't understand. Yeah. I don't.
And by the way, Philly, it's the 9th pick, 13th pick, and a 3rd rounder back there with Kobe Dean.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, and I'll ask you. All right, it's not like you're getting, Jordan Davis isn't playing good. Jalen Carter played good, but Sweat looks great. Huff looks good. Grant, they all look bad. They all look bad. So if they're all looking bad, is that something where they're working on something with the coach? Is it the system? Is it something that can be fixed? Or is they're all that bad?
Wait a minute. Here, and I'll tell you here. One thing I'll tell you when the Cowboys are at their best. The Cowboys are at their best when they get pressure on the quarterback and it masks some of the run game that they don't have to worry about because most of the time they're what? They're 3rd and long. When the Cowboys get home, even if you're 3rd long, the Cowboys will still give up a 6-yard, 7-yard run, but it'll be 4th down and 4. And so they get away with that. They can mask it with their pressure with their 2 ends. When the Eagles got away with it, Philly, in 2022, they had 70 sacks. You had high volume of pressure. You were still 16th against the run that year, if you remember right. Okay? You were in the middle of the pack. It helped it. Once that pressure went away, do you know get this, Mark, since last year, November, the Philadelphia Eagles have surrendered 150 yards a game on the ground rushing. I mean, this is, and like he said, I don't tie in to a year ago. Well, they carried that over 180 against the Packers the week 1. Then they turned around and 163, I think it was. Then they turned around Monday night and gave up 150 against Atlanta. I mean, they've carried it over. So is it scheme? Yeah, but remember something too. Look at what Vic Fangio did in that game on Monday. Well, he brought pressure. What happened when he brought pressure? Gardner Johnson got burned on a 46-yard touchdown pass. He never went back to it after that. Nolan Smith has been faster.
And
Bryce Huff is a liability. He's a liability. Hold on. Let me move on here now. Let me move on. Okay, to you, Mark.
You're hurting Philly. Oh, poor Philly. Don't cry. Don't cry.
For you, Mark, who has more of a chance of turning the page this weekend? You got Baltimore. These are two big games for you two teams. The Eagles have the Saints, obviously, and you got the Baltimore Ravens, who are 0-2 right now and are in desperate need of a victory. They go 0-3. They're not making the playoffs in the AFC. They're not.
Yeah, you got a desperate team
Does
there.
Dak or Jalen, in your opinion, who has the chance of turning the tide in the page this weekend? Dak Prescott or Jalen Hurts?
Here's the thing. You have to look at it from the standpoint of the Cowboys' defense is really built to have a lead. They're not a run-stopping defense, and that has been our fatal flaw forever. So having Baltimore coming in, and now that we've got three guys that aren't practicing and one guy going in injured reserve, that does not bode well for us. But Baltimore seems to have their own problems as well on defense. The Cowboys will need to jump up and score some points early and make this thing a track meet. The Eagles, the way it's a bad matchup for both of our teams, because both of these teams are running teams and neither of us can stop shit. So I'm looking at this and I feel like as bad as we played, at least Mike Zimmer is owning his shit and saying, it's on me. I've got to coach better. I look at the Eagles, and it seems like Nick Sirianni is kind of pointing the fingers at other people and not even addressing the team. I think that it's more than just players on the field for Philly, and I think that the Cowboys have a better chance of turning it around than the Eagles. I'm sorry. I think it's one of those things that it's going to snowball for the Eagles with all of these problems. Nick Sirianni should have been gone last year.
We'll get to that here in a minute. What about you, Philly? Do you think Jalen turns it around this weekend, or do you think Dak turns it around?
I think the Eagles have a better chance because I'm going to just be honest. I do not believe a John Harbaugh team is starting 0-3. That I could not believe if that happened. I don't believe. I'm betting big money on Baltimore to win straight up this week. I think Baltimore wins this game. It's a bad spot for Dallas, in my opinion. I think. Listen, I know New Orleans has looked great the first 2 weeks, and they're explosive. But sometimes, I think about this. Last year, you're 10-1, and we won a lot of games close. We won a lot of games like on Monday night that were close. Now they're not falling our way. Maybe it's a blessing in disguise that we can't sweep these flaws under the rug. And these guys, I think there's a lot of room for improvement with this team. So I think the Eagles are going to be desperate. I think they're going to come in, and I think they're going to play New Orleans a lot tougher than people think. And I think it's a hard place to play. We do not play good in New Orleans, but I think we got a shot. And if I had to say which one of those two teams has got a better chance to win, I think it's the Eagles because, the way Dallas lost and the way the Eagles lost is different. Plus, New Orleans might be feeling themselves right now. We're scoring 40 points every time we touch a field.
I still don't. Philly, I still don't know. They think they. My question is, are they that good? I mean, are they that good? Or look, 14 series, Mark. They've scored on 14 series they've had. They scored on every one of them.
When you can run that football like they've been running, and I'm going to say their offensive line is playing really good. The problem for you is
those two tackles.
Yeah, their tackles play phenomenal. We couldn't do jack on the edge. And I'm going to tell you, if you've never been to New Orleans, the only place that I've been to that's louder is Seattle. That place is a hard place to play.
Oh, it's hard to play. We do not play well there. In recent history, we've gotten our asses kicked in New Orleans. So I'm not saying we're going to go in there and just beat them up, but I'm saying if I have to choose one of those two teams to win, there's no way I see Baltimore start 0-3. I just don't believe that's happening.
Let me. Yeah, but you could say that nobody saw them starting out 0-2 either.
Yeah, well, I don't. Yeah, I don't. 0-3. I mean,
0-3 is like you're done.
Gooby, I posted it. I'll talk about it after this here. I'll get you, Gooby. Don't worry about it here. Hey, how about this one here? I'm going to go to you, Philly. Who has a better chance with problem solving this weekend against the Saints? Nick Sirianni or Mike McCarthy of the Dallas Cowboys?
Can we replace Sirianni with Moore and Fangio? I don't know. I mean, you know, if I'm pretty down on Nick Sirianni right now, so using saying his name
Rightfully so.
is not good. I'm getting a lot of Sills heat because I've been saying stuff about Sirianni, but I just don't believe. I don't understand why they kept him. I don't get it, and I wonder, what I worry about is two things. One, I worry about how they're going to fix this pass rush and run defense, right? But I also worry that old things from last year start to rear its ugly head again if they keep losing. Did they solve all the issues that were there last year? And not getting a new coach and not changing things, that concerns me over the next 2 weeks.
Philly,
I think the next 2 weeks is a big test.
how about this, though, Philly? Wait a minute now. You changed out Sean Desai. You changed out Matt Patricia.
Right.
You've added Vic Fangio. When does it get to a point when the general manager has to get hammered for constructing that team on that side of the ball? Because at the end of the day, you can bring all the scheme you want and talk to me about all the scheme, because I'll say the same thing about Dallas. Hey, at the end of the day, is it coaching or is it having a lack of commitment on the defensive side of the football for the last 29 years in Dallas and the right talented people in the right places in Dallas? To me, it comes down to Jimmy's and Joe's, but that also comes down to the general manager making the right call. Jerry takes a lot of shit for having, look at the players he signed. Dak is a great player, but he's not one of the top 5 players in the league at that position, but he's making more money. CD is a great player, but guess what? In the slot versus those other guys, you could debate that when it comes to the numbers. Micah Parsons, every time I watch him play, he gets crushed against teams that are physical. You run at him and you run him over. Okay? Is he one of the top dual guys? At times. So again, he pays guys a lot, but I don't think they've got critical players in right positions. I look at Howie. Name me one guy that Howie Roseman has drafted in the last 5 drafts defensively that you go, that guy's an all-pro.
I can't say that right now. I should be able to say that about Jalen Carter, but I can't. And I think Howie has to be held responsible for these draft picks. You have 2 first-round picks on the line. You have 3, Nolan Smith too. These guys got to produce. And listen, it's not just Jordan Davis. Where's Jalen Carter? Jalen Carter has one assist on a tackle. I mean, he's supposed to be, a premier player, Sills. He's supposed to be a bona fide stud, and he's done nothing.
Wasn't he benched to start the game?
He was, because he was late for some sort of meeting. But here's the thing. This is where I say, maybe we gotta like just wait and see, because you're getting no production from everybody. It's not just like 1 or 2 guys. Everybody seems to be struggling. So something is up. I mean, Josh Sweat, he has done nothing either. Nothing. So to me, I think we got to see if they can figure it out. Obviously, it's early in the year. But I'm telling you what, I'm a lunatic. I think the Eagles are going to win. They're going to win this week somehow, some way.
Xander's got both teams losing this week, Cowboys and Eagles.
Yeah, that's the logical thing. But I think, what I like about the Eagles, I think Saquon Barkley is reborn. He is reborn hardcore. He looks fast, elusive, physical. I think the one thing the Eagles have that Dallas doesn't against New Orleans is the Eagles have the ability to stay on the field offensively. They have ability to run the ball and control the clock. That keeps them in the game. Dallas can't run the ball. Nobody's scared of it. That's why the Eagles will be in this game, and we will have a chance to win it. Now, we'll see what happens.
Well, how about this one here, Mark? Mark, here for you.
Yeah.
Do you think Dak looks better under McCarthy than he did under Moore?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt, he looks a lot better. But one thing, let me back up for just a second here. I agree that Saquon Barkley has been an absolute positive beast for you guys. But the thing you have to worry about Saquon is he's taken a lot of hits and things, and his track record of staying healthy could be something going down the stretch.
46 carries in the first 2 games.
Right, and the whole thing. And when we talked about that
before,
we don't need him to be doing that much. No,
I'm not going to. I ain't bringing up injury. I ain't even going to.
But you have to look at a person's injury history in the same way we'd have to look at Tony Romo and say, one of 3 things is going to happen. He's going to make a great play, he's going to throw an interception, or he's not going to get up off the field. And you have to allow for that. If you do lose Barkley going down, all of a sudden your team is totally different than where it is.
Oh, yeah,
I'm not wishing that on him, but I'm just saying that has to be something you have to put in the equation and say, are we going to run him in the ground?
If Dak Prescott is going to have to go back and drop back and pass more because you got no running game, the chances are he's going to get hurt again.
It's a good point.
Looking at
that is a good point. Yeah, I can agree with you on that one.
We could keep bringing up injury,
But I will say
it's so hard
a quarterback stepping back and throwing the ball, the chances of him getting injured are a lot less than a running back that is running 46 times in the first 2 games. Can we agree with that?
Yeah,
you're taking a lot more abuse in that situation. Now, as far as Dak Prescott with Mike McCarthy, right, I think the 2 of them actually work together really well between the 2 of them. There's things with Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore, sometimes you're like, that guy's a freaking genius. But then he'll come up with some bullshit. You're like, what are you doing? And it's just like, it's not all the time. It's
Mark,
just
I think what happens to Kellen Moore, Mark, you know what I think happens to the coordinators in Dallas?
What's that?
In Philly. Let me tell you what I found out today because I heard Nick Sirianni say it.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
Oh, my God. When I heard this, listen to this, man. Mm-hmm. When he said today, when asked the question for 3rd and 3, he goes, I had them run the last 2 years plays that were successful. And I asked the analytics. You know who runs the analytics?
It's Lurie's son.
Owner's son runs it. So he calls the owner's son up and says, what plays are the best plays to run in that environment down there with 1:34 left in the game? What is the best plays that would work there? Instead of doing the most important thing was the number 1 thing that you couldn't do was stop the clock. Okay. That to me, you're taking the element of the disaster away, like Belichick used to down in the goal line down there by not having his players reach across the goal line. You're taking the element of the worst thing that can happen away. The risk reward wasn't there for that play. Run the clock. You know what you could have did too, Mark? Think about what the Eagles could have done there. Check it out. So you run the clock at 3rd down. You could have lined up at 4th down. They had a timeout left, right? They could have burned some more time up on 4th down. They would have started the clock, right? Atlanta couldn't stop it. You could have burned another 15 to 20 seconds off that. You know what you do then? You take the timeout, you kick the field goal like you did anyway. And instead of giving them the time left on the clock, you're maybe giving them a shot that they have to go for the end zone instead of on the 10 or the 5-yard line, instead on the 35-yard line. And you make it harder for them to have an opportunity at scoring a touchdown at the end of the game.
Yeah, because
anything but passing the football. Even if you just had Jalen Hurts take the snap and just run around the back and try and burn clock.
What I'm saying is that if you're Kellen Moore, you got a sheet in your hand and you're talking with your head coach, and this is what they come up with, is what the guys upstairs are saying, that pick one off this page. That's not a feel for the game.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a feel.
So you're saying that Nick Sirianni said that he called that last play?
No,
not more.
Well, he's saying that he chose to go for that play
by the
that
analytics.
Kellen wanted to run. So Kellen wanted to throw the ball out of the backfield to Barkley instead of just going, no, I want to run it.
Right. Okay? But who made the decision?
Kellen made the call on the throw. But the head coach doesn't come in and go, no, we're going to run it, because to me, that's the element of taking. They went with the analytics. Kellen went with the analytics there. Instead of going get this, you already knew you didn't have AJ. Okay. You knew the quarterback had no pressure. You weren't getting any pressure. You couldn't stop the run. Don't you want to make that thing harder for Cousins? Let me give you guys both a stat in that game on Monday night. 0.7% chance of success. It was the 7th most impossible comeback in the NFL since 2016. You know what that means? It was 1,000,000 to 1.
Kirk Cousins on Monday night.
Win that game. That's why Philly's so pissed off right now. It's 1,000,000 to 1. So I think these coordinators, even on Vic's side, you know what the analytics said? Play 15 yards off the ball and 25 yards with the safeties. You know what Troy Aikman was saying in the game? Troy Aikman was doing this. They're not even on the television
They're not even on the field. You're right. They're not even on
the television screen. They were playing pitch and catch. So I think they fall in to that's an analytic. Let me say this to you, too. One last thing here, Philly. And I don't want you to get too depressed here with this, but
no, make it depressed. Make it depressed.
Hey, wait a minute.
I'm ready for the upset Sunday.
Hey, wait a minute. On the night of Nick Foles, you got a guy on the sideline with his glasses like this. He's looking at all these plays that they're going through. Quarterback walks over and goes, "How about Philly? Go ahead, run it." And you know what? Hey, that's not an analytics call. That's a gut call. Right. That's the difference between that coaching staff, how they won games, how this coaching staff goes about their business. And that's why there's a fundamental flaw in that business, in that building there with them.
Yeah. I think that, using analytics too much is not good. I think it's
a tool. I'm there with you.
Exactly. I mean, Barkley comes out the opening drive. What did he have? Like 45 yards? And then all of a sudden they just stopped going to him. I never understand that. It's like they overthink it, use analytics, whatever. But I mean,
hold on. On that first drive, he did run like crazy, but then the Falcons started slowing him down. So it was only getting 2 and 3 yards a carry after that. Because he started out, he was averaging like 9 yards a carry. And I'm like, this is going to be a freaking blowout. But the Falcons, to their credit, their defense did start corralling him more and more.
But the Eagles let them off the hook because they were clearly stacked in the box. And all you had to do is start running. There's no play action, roll Hurts out. You would have had plays down the field. But they didn't do it. I think sometimes the Eagles, they become very predictable. Like, all right, the way they're lined up, they're running,
Absolutely. Okay, Mark, for you. Who's more of a disappointment? Mozzie Smith or Jordan Davis?
Wow. Okay. I'm going to say at the moment Jordan Davis is, because he's been here longer. He's been here now. This is his 3rd year. And what the Eagles gave up for him after 2 freaking plays to be on the sideline sucking oxygen. Yeah. Now, I'm not going to say I'm ecstatic about Mozzie. So far, no tackles, no pressures. He's not looking good right now, but I also have to say Dan Quinn, he was in his doghouse and he's starting all over. So we'll see. Right now, both of those guys need to step up and do more than what they're doing, because both of them, with being first-round picks, neither of them are anywhere near being a first-round caliber player.
How about you, 500?
Obviously, Jordan Davis is the bigger disappointment. He's actually got talent. I mean, he's actually got talent. Mozzie, Mozzie stunk from the beginning. So,
oh boy,
right? I mean, even Dan was saying he's a 4th-round pick. He's not a 1st-round pick. Jordan Davis is got talent.
That's right. Hey, Philly, the difference between Lazy Smith and Jordan Davis is this. I don't mind Jordan Davis if he's a 3rd-rounder playing on my defensive front. He's got to play better against the run for sure. But Lazy Smith is throwing goose eggs up. I mean, I haven't seen it since day one. I mean, and when you hear Mike Zimmer go, well, he's not going to make flash plays. Well, fuck, you drafted him in the 1st round. Right. So what'd you do? You drafted a fire hydrant in the 1st round?
He didn't draft him.
Now, true. And
he didn't draft him.
And get this, he wasn't as high as a pick as Jordan either.
No, Jordan, they traded up to get.
Jordan was the 13th pick. I think they went from, am I right, Philly? They went from 22 to 13 to get him.
I don't remember how far. I didn't think it was that far, but they went up. I thought it was like 15 or 16.
It's something it could have been that. It could have been 17, 16 like that. Yeah.
But I mean, I said this is a make or break year for Jordan Davis. It's only 2 weeks in, and we got to see what happens. We got to stress that we're 2 weeks in, and we got a new defensive coordinator. We're trying to figure it out, and we'll see if they improve. I think these next 2 weeks will tell us a lot. But so far, it's been very disappointing with Jordan Davis, especially against the run. Non-existent, So, but I'm telling you this, Sills, I'm also disappointed with Jalen Carter. I mean, Jalen Carter, you're talking one of the best players in that draft coming out. Where's he been the first 2 weeks?
Let me ask you this one. If you had to do that all over again in hindsight, would you want Bijan or him?
I would have taken Jalen Carter over Bijan.
Okay.
I would have gone Will Anderson, Carter, Bijan were my top 3 in order.
Yeah, those were guys in my sandbox too. But boy, I'll tell you, hey,
Bijan looks good.
Mark, man, Bijan looks. I mean,
Bijan's good.
He is a good-looking.
Even in blocking. Oh man, when he
my God, did you see him blow up Nolan Smith on that corner, man? Hey,
that was a knockout blow.
He knocked his teeth out. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, he's a good player.
He knocked him on his back. He looked like a freaking turtle laying there, man.
Hey, I'd
be
careful,
it's week
man.
2.
You got 44 laid on you.
I agree. Listen, both teams' defenses played like ass. Okay? I expect more from the Eagles defense. We're talking the pickle juice team, and I expect a lot more from the Dallas Cowboys that used to be the doomsday defense. Right now, we look like 2 cupcakes out there. I hope both of these teams man the F up, because I'd rather have you guys good and kick your teeth in than for both of us just to be these bunch of losers that we are right now.
All right, finally here's the last one. To you, Mark. Cowboys, Baltimore Ravens. Who wins the game?
Cowboys.
Give me a score.
31-24.
You know where you have an opportunity to win this? That defense losing Patrick Queen and losing Denard Wilson, their secondary coach.
Mm-hmm.
That secondary, that defense not getting any pressure. Yep. That's not a Baltimore defense. So that's going to be an interesting ball game, and both teams need that game. That's going to be must watch this weekend. Philly, Eagles go into the Superdome. By the way, if you want to comment on that Baltimore Dallas one too, and I'll go back to you on that one too. On this one here, who do you got winning?
Oh,
Saints
man,
or Eagles? No AJ.
I don't even want to predict that game. Dallas is going to lose 28-20. How about that? But
you look like you have agita right now talking about the Eagles.
I do because I don't think it looks good for us. If I'm being honest, I don't think we're winning this game. I hate to say it, but I don't. New Orleans is a tough place to play. I do think we'll be better though. I'm hoping it'll be close. But no A.J. Brown going to New Orleans. This defense looks lost. A short week. It just seems like everything's stacked up against us this week. So, I mean, if I have to be honest, and I do, I got to take New Orleans.
Look at how happy Mark is.
Sorry. I think this is a first for me for him to ever say, we're not going to win.
You know what? He's
mark
happy.
it down. Mark it down.
Look how happy he is, even though his team had 44 put on him.
That's what I'm saying. He don't care.
He's so happy.
As long as the Eagles lose and Dak doesn't get the blame.
Mr. Maple Syrup walking old ladies across the street.
Hold on.
Being nice. Being Mr. Public Servant. The old man. He's happy with your pain.
Let me explain something, though, to you guys. Just like with BetUS, if you use the promo code YouTube150, that you get that 150% matching. Nobody expected the Cowboys to do anything. They have trashed us mercilessly.
That's always your excuse.
Anything we do is better than what they did. You guys, sorry, were picked to be the Super Bowl contenders. And here it is. You got one of the sorriest, weakest ass defenses out there. You literally let Kirk Cousins on Monday Night Football kick your teeth in. Kirk freaking Cousins. Let me say it again. Kirk Cousins beat you on Monday Night Football.
4 points.
They dropped your pants. 44
points by Derek Carr. And you're talking about my defense? Your team allowed over 40 points. What are you talking about? Dude, this guy watches. I was watching. Dak Prescott throws an interception. His first thing out of his mouth. It wasn't Dak's fault. Well, that wasn't Dak's fault. He could care less that
if the guy on this break falls down, that's
all
Dak.
he cares
Oh,
about
come on, man.
is that
Come
Dak
on.
Prescott.
Hey, that
on.
guy
doesn't
slipped
get
on
the
Jalen.
blame.
Hey, that guy
Oh,
slipped
poor
on
Dak
Jalen.
Prescott. Oh,
All right.
Okay, how about the ones your guy threw at the end of the game? I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, it was a bad throw, but I don't make excuses.
Stupid throw?
I say that's a bad throw. You say, oh my God, it's not Dak's fault. The interception Dak's going to throw this week for Baltimore, Mark will tell you it's not Dak's fault already. It's never Dak's fault.
All right, guys. Mark, tell folks how they can find you, my good friend.
Definitely at Jobu Sports Report and Cowboy Jobu. Those are our 2 YouTube channels, but you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, everywhere else. Just look for Cowboy Jobu, and I'll be there.
Thank you for the promo there with BetUS as well. We appreciate that. I know you're involved with it too. Philly.500. Tell the great folks. And by the way, you're pissed off. You're in a salty mood. I knew. By the way, you should see. I was texting him. He's like, man. All right, I'll do it.
Oh, I'm not. I'm not
you saw me this morning, first thing. Hey, good morning. Are we doing this?
I'm not happy when my team loses.
I know
you're pissed off. You know, this guy's happy because he doesn't even care his team lost.
I just love your misery, though. I love your misery, man.
I guess you do.
Listen, I missed this the last couple of years of you being salty. This is a beautiful thing. This is what the world needs, to be able to laugh at Philly.500.
Oh, hey, Philly, you got to
bring it on.
You got to win this weekend, man. Okay?
I hope we win. Yeah. No. I will be unbearable if we beat New Orleans because after they lost to New Orleans, we go in and beat them.
And I will take it like a man.
All right.
Yeah,
all right, guys.
You'll make excuses. My poor baby Dak. Come here, Dak. Here's a nipple. There you go.
I love you guys.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it very much. And Philly.500, thank you, my friend. I appreciate it.
Oh, boy.
You guys are awesome, man. That was great. Hey, misery, man. That was the best segment, and they both were miserable. But I don't know. Mark seems to have a little bit more joy in the misery of Philly.500. I don't know. There's something about that there. Really cool what he said, too, about BetUS. Make sure you guys do check out the website, both with him and with us as well. So we appreciate that very much. Hit the like button. Where we are on the like list right now, Xander. That's pretty good stuff. By the way, I'll get to all the super chats. I promise when we come back, okay? Xander, let's get those super chats lined up. We'll do that when we get back. Guys, thank you so much for coming aboard with us. That was awesome, man. And don't forget, we have Merrill Reese at 5:30 with us, and we will talk to the legendary voice of the Philadelphia Eagles. Guys, please hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.